It is time to escape the desert to go camping with the boys. We're heading up to Hurkey Creek to go do a tent camping trip. Got the bikes, got the truck fully loaded, ready to go. But most importantly, I've got this new power pack that we're going to be testing out during this trip. But more on that here in just a little bit. All right, let's hit the roads. So this is the Egretech power pack here. What's going to be super cool is the fact that I can use this to blow up our air mattresses and not have to push on the self-inflator for like 20 minutes. So let's do this. Let's plug this in. That is DC on. Spread this out. And just like that, it's inflated. That's a lot easier. I like that.
Whoa!
So this is the Egretech Sonic 1200. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. It'll do up to 1200 watts and it's got about 1,000 watt hours of capacity, which means I can charge my e-bike twice with this thing. Now to show it off, I actually need to charge some things like my phone. I can put that on top with the wireless charging. But first, let's turn this thing on. All right, we're on. So what's cool about this one is the fact that it has a cigarette lighter. It's got two USB-As, which are 24 watt compatible, and then it has two USB-Cs, which are 100 watts. And also has two actual AC wall outlet style plugs right here, which I can use to charge the e-bike. And up top, we've got the wireless charging up here. So I'm going to turn it on and I can put my phone right on top. And now we're charging. Now let's charge up some more stuff here. Let's stress this thing out a bit. Let's use a couple of the USB-Cs. Charge up my air compressor. Let's charge up my iPad or my phone via the USB-A. Charge the tablet via USB-C. And we can also charge up the e-bike all at the same time. All right, so we can plug in the e-bike, let this thing charge up. So as you can see, with everything plugged in, we're at 98%. We're putting out about 201 watts between everything. And yeah, we could be running this all for about 4 hours. So like I said, we've got the USB-A 24 watt, two USB-Cs that are 100 watt. We have the cigarette lighter style, which I use to pump up my air mattress. On top, we've got the wireless charging. And on the sides, we've got the two wall outlet styles. And actually on this side, we have a spot to charge the device via wall. We also have a solar or a car input on here. All right, so this thing has the three ways to charge. You can plug it into the wall, which will take about an hour and a half for a full charge, but it'll actually do 80% in 1 hour, which is super cool. You could actually hook this up to some solar panels and fully charge it in about 6 to 7 hours, or you could actually run it in the car via the cigarette lighter port for 9 hours. So this thing is going to be awesome for camping. I'm actually really super stoked that Egretech sent this out to me. I'm going to be using this pretty much anytime we go camping now. Even when we do some dry camping in the trailer, we could run the TV for the kids off this thing for, I think, rated for 8 hours on a 100-watt TV. But our trailer is like a 50-watt TV, which means we could probably run this thing almost all day before draining it. This thing's not terribly heavy as well. It's only about 21 pounds. It's pretty easy to kind of move around. I wanted to go with this one in particular because I didn't want something that was too big and too bulky that it was going to be heavy to move around. But I wanted something that was enough that I could charge, say, my e-bike twice if I wanted to. And I believe you can actually jumpstart your car or your truck with this thing. I'm not sure how exactly that works. I'll have to actually look into that. But like I said, this thing's going to be great for camping. It's also going to be great in case of an emergency. Say if we have a power outage at home, I could run whatever we need to run, including a refrigerator. I think I'll have to double check, but I think they say like 8 hours for a refrigerator, like a full-size refrigerator, 8 hours on this thing. That's pretty awesome. So one other thing that I forgot to mention is the fact that it actually has a light on the front of it. So tonight when we're in the tent and it's gonna be nice and dark, I can hit this button and it'll actually turn on the light with 3 different versions. And I think there's also an SOS pattern, which is kind of cool. So one downside I will say is that the screen on the front is not incredibly bright. Out here in the sunlight, it is actually a little bit more difficult to read. I wish it was just a little bit brighter. Well, now that the camping's over, I'm back here at home and I can give a little bit more thoughts about this battery pack here. So while camping, it was actually really cool to have. I was able to keep my son's tablets charged up, my phone charged up. The light that's actually on the front of the unit is actually really bright, and we used that once it got dark to kind of light up the tent. Yeah, I know tablets and camping, it doesn't go hand in hand, but when you're stuck in a tent trying to go to bed, you know, they're kind of handy to have. The other cool thing also is the fact that I was actually able to charge up our RC cars through the USB ports. The one issue I did run into though is it seemed like those USB chargers draw so little that it actually was not registering anything on the battery pack itself. So what I'm gonna do in the future is I'm actually going to bring my standard RC car charger, which I can use to charge up my cars in the future. I'm actually kind of excited for this also for when we go camping in Ocotillo Wells or we do any dry camping. If I wanna make coffee in the morning, I have to turn on the generator and that's kind of a pain. Really, I don't like having that noise that early in the morning. So being able to use this just to make some coffee is actually gonna be really cool. So I do have one small complaint with it is I do wish the screen was a little bit brighter in broad daylight. When I was camping, I actually found it a little hard to read. And yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about this thing. It worked great. This isn't really necessarily a long-term review, just my experience of using it while camping. This thing is actually really cool. I'm super stoked that they actually sent this out to me. It's actually gonna be really handy, not even just for camping, but for home as well. I can hook my lights up to this so I can run my studio lights off this. I don't have to run an extension cord halfway across the whole garage to try to get some lights set up. All in all, I'm really stoked to be able to have this. I have so many plans for this. I have a couple ideas like a remote Zwift. I also want to do one on my other channel for remote 3D printing. I think could be kind of cool. Give me some crazy ideas. Let me know down in the comments below what you want to see me do with this thing. So that is the Egretech Power Pack. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. I'll see what I can do to answer them. But yeah, till next time, this is MTV Red Dad sign off. I'll see you next time.